Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when we're living our dream.
Welcome to another episode of Button Mash on Ball State's WCRD 91.3 FM. Elizabeth, you're pointing a microphone while I'm on a microphone. I can get you the Audacity file if you'd like. Hello, once again, I am Joseph Noop. She's just staring at me, guys. Hello, once again, I am Joseph Noop, and with me as always are my lovely co-hosts. Oh my God.
Lucas Schmidt. Yeah, we don't have enough mics, so I had to grab it, swing it over, therefore delay. But we have our special guest with us today. Would you guys go ahead and introduce yourself? Elizabeth, you can start.
My name's Elizabeth.
My name's Julia.
And then last but not least, my name's Kagan Stogsdill. I'm not that special.
All right, so we've got a great show for you today, filled with tons of cool gaming news and good stuff. First on the agenda, Twitch TV, the popular streaming gaming site, has sort of adopted a new cool little project. Twitch Plays Pokemon, in which thousands and thousands of Twitch TV commenters play Pokemon Red and Blue, I believe.
Just red.
By commenting either up, down, A, B, left, right, start for the cruel people. And I think, where are they right now? Do we know?
No.
I think they've gone past the first couple cities.
They've gotten a couple badges. I know that they've gotten past the Team Rocket dungeon or whatever.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's absolute craziness. It's amazing though. I mean, what do you think about it?
It's a lot of fun.
You said you've been playing it a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's a little addicting only because you have to kind of coordinate with so many other people, and half the people there are only doing it for giggles. They're not actually playing the game. And it's funny because the boss will be standing right there trying to look all in charge and stuff, and the person will just be walking around them, checking out the corners of the walls and stuff.
Okay, now I haven't looked at this at all, so I'm totally lost. I get Pokemon, but I don't get this. What can you guys explain
Twitch,
a little bit more?
Twitch TV is a streaming service, so
Right.
you're on your PlayStation 4 and you play whatever game and broadcast.
The
it to
whole
world.
idea is a guy in Australia took a game and he's running Pokemon Red on an emulator on his PC, and he's had basically a bot set up to input commands into the game based on what people say on Twitch. So if I say up, the character will walk up. Now granted, if you have, I think they run a concurrent 17,000 viewers.
76,000.
That's a lot more than 17,000.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I mean, you have so many people saying up, it gets to be chaotic. I know there was a part in the game where there's a bridge, and we're all familiar with Pokemon and how you can jump down bridges, you can't go back up them, or cliffs or whatever. But there was only one hole to get through, to get back up, and it took them hours and hours on end, maybe even a day. I remember I had been checking in and they were still walking up and down between this little 3-foot section. So, I mean, it's really crazy in the skill.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never heard of anything like that. Just a group community collaborative, just
on
hanging on to the
certainly,
same character. Yeah. That's really funny though.
Well, can someone explain to me, because I came in before the whole anarchy democracy thing. What is that about?
There are two options now. If you type anarchy, there's a little bar. And as more people type anarchy, it gets closer to anarchy. And if it passes the little dash line, then the game goes to anarchy, and whatever you type in, the character immediately does. But if it goes towards democracy, then the tally mark comes up, and it keeps track of what people are saying. And after a certain amount of seconds, whatever has the highest number of votes is what the character does.
I mean, it's crazy. It's honestly the study of a hive mind, and how a group of people can control this one singular game. Some of the funny highlights I know, they tried to get an Eevee early on in the game and evolve it and buy a water stone to get an Aperion.
They needed Surf.
They needed Surf, and they knew that this was going to be their only way to get it. So they go and they do it. Somebody accidentally buys a Firestone. They get a Flareon. They try to put it in their PC, and they accidentally get rid of the starter Pokemon, Charmeleon. So those are devastating moments. There's a religion based around this with the Helix fossil that the character walked around with days for because somebody accidentally got it out of their bag, and it's just it's incredibly crazy. But I like it. Elizabeth, what do you think about it?
It's absolutely insane. I feel like there's a deeper picture here. There's something I don't know, like getting a collective group of people to try and do something at once is number one a bad idea, but it's also kind of showing it that it just doesn't really I don't know, it doesn't work that well. I think I don't know, I feel like there's a deeper meaning here, and we have to see it. Like, I don't know, it's just weird to me because like all these people are trying to do this one thing and it's not succeeding at all.
Like you said, a religion almost, a hive mind sort of operation with so if it goes to democracy, it's more of like whatever gets the most votes in that like split second
Like
is
a
the
group
move.
collective
yeah.
sort
See,
of thing.
that's brilliant. I feel like this is something that even scholars could take a look at and be
Yeah, I mean,
and
like-
say
Definitely.
how what are the dynamics of a group of ungoverned
Yeah.
people towards a common goal.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking earlier to the group in our meeting earlier that there's people that are looking at this and it's like, it's a subplot of like the whole entire internet and the culture of the internet, and really getting like a clear picture on this. You have people who are wanting to do the right thing when they're on the internet, and then you have people who just want to be trolls, and like you have the people who hit start all the time on the game, and they're just those guys that you don't want to be around. So I mean, like it's great. It's great. It's a good picture of the internet, a little microcosm, if you will.
It could be your mother. It could be your father. It could even be your grandmother.
Yeah.
Do you know who the trolls are? Report them to
Oh,
the nearest
God.
governing station. So another interesting development, though, in the story, the Twitch Plays Pokemon has been causing site-wide chat problems. Our own Nick Dowell reported on our Blogspot page, Twitch Plays Pokemon has created a large amount of strain on the Twitch chat servers that the Twitch team is quickly trying to remedy. Jason Maestas, Twitch Director of Customer Service, acknowledged that the issues are connected to TPP. The quote, the unique nature and huge chat participation in the Twitch Plays Pokemon experiment has put enormous and unforeseen stress on our chat system, he said. We're always working on improving the QoS of our chat system, and this has been a wonderful learning experience for us. So Twitch moved the Twitch Plays Pokemon channel off the general chat servers on Sunday and onto a dedicated event server.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That is a huge deal because if you guys are familiar with games like League of Legends and you know how popular those are, Twitch will broadcast like the World Championships of League of Legends, and they have dedicated servers for that to hold that
can't
high.
afford for that to crash.
Yeah, like high populations and stuff like that. And so now they're moving over to this small stream like a Pokemon thing. It's getting huge. Over to dedicated servers, it's getting that respect. I think that's really cool.
And yeah, so anyone else have anything left to say about Twitch Plays Pokemon? I'm probably going to go back and keep watching it.
I think a kind of a good thing about the whole Twitch Plays Pokemon, even though, it is getting the servers to crash and stuff, is it's getting a lot of publicity this way. And because of that, I feel like once this all blows over, because it'll eventually blow over, the live stream will have so many more, like, audience members, et cetera, et cetera.
It's drawing more people into that shared community. Yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
what was it? An article published recently. Some article claimed, the Super Bowl with 1 million at a time streamers, people who stream the Super Bowl live. Largest streaming event in history, and then someone's like, well, here's 8 million people watching the League of Legends championship,
Yeah, I mean,
or
like-
the StarCraft
Yeah.
championship.
It's crazy. And like, that takes a game that like people who don't play video games anymore, who might be our age that played Pokemon, like, oh my gosh, like I played Pokemon Red, and they go back and they watch it and they get to see this crazy experiment. I really enjoy it, and I don't like to sit and watch it for like an hour because it gets almost on my nerves.
Oh, yeah.
You get really angry at them.
yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah, I'm like,
oh
come
my
on,
god,
like,
like
don't
guys,
click
come
start.
on.
Yes, we've been trying to fight this one monster, for a while, and you keep selecting a move that's out of moves.
That's the metaphor.
Yes.
It's government.
Yeah, so like
That's how I feel.
I just try to tune into it every once in a while, just check up on him, almost like a lost kid that you just want to be like, okay, how are you guys doing?
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here in
like,
the
where
corner
you
of the
at now?
internet? Yeah.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Do you guys think they'll finish it? Like, do you think they'll finish the game?
Oh, given enough time.
The Final Four is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Like tuning in for the Final Four will be one of the most like intense things, and if they do win,
There
I
will be
feel like
nationwide coronaries from
Yes.
how like frustrated. some
there's
people
gonna be
were.
like fireworks on Twitch for at least a month if that happens. Like
Wow.
it's crazy.
It'll definitely take a while because it took 4 days to defeat Giovanni, and then it took 2 days to go back and get what they forgot.
Oh my god.
So
Wow.
I'm kind of amazed at the audience that Twitch TV just keeps pulling in.
All right. So we will come back with a bit more news here in just a second. Check it out.
Saliva rats can keep me. Running, running, running to battle.
Welcome, everybody, back to Button Mash on WCRD, the pulse of Ball State. Well, me, Joe, and Keegan here, we're going to be talking about some Titanfall because, let's face it, it's actually pretty awesome. And that beta didn't feel like a beta. That felt like a demo. That was like just
a brilliant piece
to
of work.
EA.
And did anyone like actually have any serious crash? Worst I ever had was like a split second reconnect to server.
I've had a couple of like establishing connection things. I don't know if it was my side or their side, but that's not the point. They were trying that. They were trying to crash those servers in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't, especially because they opened it up to everybody on Xbox One.
They crashed
after,
the
like, 2
servers
days.
on Friday.
Oh,
They
okay,
crashed the
yeah.
servers
Never
on
mind.
Friday.
I misheard you. The only problem I had was Friday when I got the code and I tried to get on and I couldn't play at all. But Saturday and after, totally fine, no problems at all. Like you said, I think I had like one like misconnection one time, but I didn't get like dropped out of a game or anything.
Never,
It was like
yeah.
while I was in the lobby.
I did hate how I was kind of dropped into some games like midway through, and then it's like, well, now I have to wait another minute
that
and
didn't
a half.
happen that often
Yeah,
though.
it honestly happens a lot. Like I was thinking about that when I was playing yesterday. I played all the way up until they took it down. I was thinking about that, but they don't do it definitely as much as like what Call of Duty and Halo did.
I'm just imagining like every person who actually stayed up until the deadline, like
They went past-
Respawn Entertainment being like, you don't have to go home, but you can't sleep here.
No, I mean it was so good, and I don't know if it's gonna redefine the shooter genre, but it's definitely gonna shoot life back into
Pure
it.
crack fun, man.
I mean, it is, and it's so insane. And people complain about the AIs or the grunts, but I think they're looking at it from a shooter perspective. They're not there to add points to your total score or anything. They're there to get you that Titan faster, just like what it is in Dota and stuff like
yeah,
that.
man, it's just Call of Duty, except
Yeah.
for robots and jetpacks and
Yeah.
You basically
burn
get rid of
cards
the
and-
bokill kill streaks that just tick people
Titans
off,
are kill
and you
streaks,
replace
and you-
it
and
with
everyone gets
the
one.
See, the thing is though, is that it's a kill streak that its ability to kill depends on your talent.
Yeah.
So anybody who calls in an airstrike in a Call of Duty game, like they have, there's no skill to an airstrike. Like,
But
sure,
even
there's
then, you have to
placement,
you have to kill enough people to get an airstrike. The thing about Titanfall is
You're guaranteed to get one.
You're guaranteed to get at least one Titan, and if you
It
do
might just
better,
take
you
longer.
get it faster.
Dude, this is the coolest thing ever. I only did it a few times. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 times. But there were instances where my Titan blew up, but just right after that, I racked up so many points and kills right away that I got the Titan like within 10 seconds of
Well,
the
see,
last one.
like, two
and it's
things.
the coolest feeling ever.
Two things for me is like, piloting a Titan. I'm not a big fan of it. I like to be on the ground fighting against Titans. I was talking to Lucas earlier when we were doing that video review. I like to be like a Titan hunter, like just hunt
Right.
these enemy Titans. And what I started doing with my friend is like I would get my Titan's health down, and I would have the eject where it shoots you up in the skies, and you land on the Titans that are attacking
Yeah.
you.
My favorite tactic,
But
rodeo.
then the one complaint that I do have with Titanfall, and it wasn't a problem when I first started playing it, but it's starting to get more and more of a problem, is when you play it next time, watch the gun kickback when you shoot. There is none. Unlike Call of Duty and Battlefield and Halo,
Wait, are you talking about the gun of the Titan or the gun of
no,
the soldier?
the real gun of the soldier.
There is kickback on
hardly
it.
any. Go play like
not
go,
a terrible lot, but there's enough. And it's
now that
actually,
I
I think
think
it's
about it,
good
I
that
don't
there's not.
remember any either.
I think it's good that there's not that much.
They
There's
nerfed it
enough that
down.
you can't really like just straight beeline kill someone from across the map.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is so much more fast paced than any other shooter I've played, especially the verticality to it. Like it's
if you had too much
if a
recoil,
guy's running
it would
around
become
a wall,
frustrating experience. Because there were plenty of times, even if there wasn't recoil, like where a guy's sprinting around me, I'm like, get over here, let me kill
Right.
you,
Like,
and I can't.
Another thing I was thinking about is like, so everybody talks about kill deaths in these kind of games. Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield. But in Titanfall, I really feel like the kill death does not matter.
It doesn't
Because,
feel
like,
that. Even when I
you're-
had bad games where I
Yeah.
went like 2 and 6, I
Still
was
get
like,
some experience.
you
"No,
can
that was
you
still
can
a fun
add to your
game."
team. Like for me, like I was a Titan hunter, and my kill death is low, but I'm not going after pilots. I'm going after Titans, these things that are running around the battlefield destroying people. And you can look at your kill death for that, but like I just like I wouldn't get as many pilot kills. I'd be racking up on grunts and Titans because I was in a Titan. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, they're taking away a lot of stuff that's normal, and I think that's what's changing up the shooter genre. It's
Yeah,
stuff
there
that
were-
you think of is like something that's gonna be in a shooter game. They don't have.
Exactly. Yeah, there were a lot of times, like you said, hunting Titans. Like, I just went on a spree, and I would take out so many Titans, but then I'd have a negative kill death. But I wouldn't feel bad because I was like, you know what? I mopped the floor on
That's
those
the first
Titans.
thing
Like,
that sold me on the game is I lost like the first 3 or 4, and I did not care whatsoever. I went straight back and I tried out all the different modes. What were your fit? I'm a
Hardpoint. I love hardpoint.
You like hardpoint?
I like objective based, and Lucas and I were talking
definitely
about
I like general
Hardpoint's my
deathmatch.
See, I'm not a deathmatch fan. I need some kind
Although
of an
Last
objective,
Titan
something
Standing
to
was
like
pretty
focus
fun.
on.
So-
Last Titan Stands very I really like that.
what we were talking about, Joe, when you were doing that interview with Elizabeth for class. Somebody got on Titanfall source code, basically through going the back door, and they found out how many maps, 15, that all look really cool.
Other game modes,
yeah,
other perks,
other
other
game
weapons.
other
modes.
creatures
Capture-
on the map.
Yes, like they have. Yeah, I saw that. But they have capture the flag on Titanfall, and Lucas and I were talking about that. You remember back in Halo? Did you ever play
Yeah,
Halo capture
yeah.
the flag? One of the big tactics in that game was throwing the flag. Just
Oh,
keep
yeah.
throwing it and grabbing
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And it was really annoying to listen to the announcer say like, "Pick the flag, drop flag."
Yeah.
But on Titanfall, could you imagine doing that with the verticality and the mobility your players have? The flags are
yeah.
flying
You can
around
run
the
across a
level.
map
Yeah.
in under a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing because if you get in a Titan and you have the flag, like okay, you got a lot of protection, but you're also this like slow, pretty vulnerable target.
Especially on Angel City where it's tight quarters and you can get stuck behind 2 or 3 of them real
See,
quick.
what'll be interesting to see is how many maps, how many of the because I know they're gonna have the ones that are that are balanced, kind of equal,
Like more
equal
Titan maps
equal
or
advantage
something?
if
Yeah.
you're in a Titan or if you're on the ground as a pilot. But then there'll be ones that'll be more advantageous if you're a Titan or
Well,
more
see-
advantageous if you're a pilot.
I was talking to Lucas about this too, and we are playing the beta. We're playing 2 maps that are incredibly similar, actually. If you play them, they're not that far apart. But I am so excited to jump into Titanfall because we don't know anything about Titanfall. As much as we've played this beta, but if we didn't have the beta, we would know nothing besides the demo that they kept showing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're going into this game, and like you said, there might be monsters on a level.
There are creatures on the
and, like,
map. We
yeah,
don't know
so, like,
necessarily what capacity.
we don't
but
know what they're gonna do.
How they're gonna
like,
affect
Yeah,
stuff.
like we don't
Yeah.
know how these maps are gonna play. We don't know like if
This could be
Lucas-
Kaiju the video
Yeah.
game.
like we don't know if they're going to be maps that are specifically geared towards Titans and stuff like that. Like, I mean, like I think a great thing for capture the flag is like don't let pilots carry the flag. Make the Titan have a huge flag that he has to carry.
And then that brings the pilots around the Titan and makes
and
it
then
more
and
concentrated
he's
experience.
slower, so he can't get across the map. And
That
two,
would
to
be-
have a big flag carrying around would be awesome.
Force team co-working. Yeah,
Yeah.
co-work.
That would be really interesting if only one type could have a flag. So if only Titans could have the flag or only pilots could have the
Yeah.
flag, that'd shake things up a lot. Yeah, that'd be awesome. What you were talking about, the Pacific Rim, the Kaiju fight or
Yeah,
whatever. If they
absolutely.
came out with like a DLC of just like co-op kind of
Or could you
survival thing, like
imagine
fighting the Kaiju?
like rodeoing same way you do a Titan, a
monster,
monster,
yeah.
and like how that could factor into
Like,
combat?
We were talking. So the beta had very strict parameters on what you had, but a lot of people learned that on burn cards, you can get different things. I was watching IGN's live stream, and they got this Strider Atlas.
Yeah, I
Strider
saw that
Titan,
too.
and it's faster. It moves a lot faster than the Atlas Titan.
And its
then-
ability is the
yeah.
unlimited core, dash core.
The
Yeah,
dash.
and like another thing, I got a burn card for a sniper rifle with an explosive round, and it was
That
totally
thing was
different. It was
sweet.
amped, and like I was like, oh boy, like I'm blowing people.
I love the
away.
burn card for what's up for there. There's 2 that I really like. There was the one where you just instant. It was like salvage or something. You just instantly get a
You
Titan.
come back or
No,
oh,
you just
yeah.
instantly are granted a Titan. So I would put that on right at the start of the match. Boom. 1 second in the match, I got a Titan. My team totally has an advantage.
That
Yeah.
that seems like such a cool mechanic too, because it's not like they can't keep adding new ones as they come to the. For a moment of discovery, I was like frustrated once when someone like I killed him, and then apparently I was killed by the same guy 5 seconds later. I'm like, how did that even happen? And then I get a burn card that says respawn where you died. I'm like, oh.
And like I never felt like somebody was owning me. Or I was owning anybody.
No.
I never felt like outmatching skill. I've always been a really good shooter like player, but this is awesome.
And they give you
Balance.
the AI to make you feel like you
Yeah, you wanna
you're
come back
making a
against the
difference,
AI,
and
yeah.
that's perfect for me because I suck.
It's always satisfying to throw a grenade and just get
Can we
3.
Can we talk about
AI
the new
kills.
melee? Because like it's cool to like snap somebody's head.
I thought
Whatever.
the
That's
melee
like Battlefield.
sucked,
The jump
actually.
kick is
The
so.
kick is funny though. Cause I've been kicked by a grunt one time on accident.
Wow.
Apparently, yeah. No, I know. Trust me.
Embarrassing.
And, yeah, and I was running, and man, it was great.
So, well, no, we can keep talking about Titanfall for one more minute. There you go.
One more
okay.
minute.
What did you guys think about the melee combat? Because I thought Titan to Titan, it sucked. I never felt like I was hitting.
No,
I
see,
ripped
the
the
only
Titan out.
time
I
it's
ripped-
worth it is for the execution
Yes.
because that's basically your way of being like, no, you're about to die. You're not ejected and going 800 feet in the air.
I've
Like,
done that.
you are done.
I've done that
And
a lot.
The cool thing is each Titan has a different execution move. Did you
Whoa.
see that? Because you were talking about the IGN had the Strider. The Strider actually
have to
grabs the
rip out
person
them and throw
and
them.
crushes them.
And
Well,
crush.
along with those different Titans, with that IGN thing is the cockpits for every Titan look different.
Yeah.
So when you're inside those Titans, you see a different view, which is cool.
Awesome.
Like
Yeah.
it's just another level of polish.
It's world building
Can we just get March 11th here right now?
right now. All right,
Right,
guys.
meow.
That's all the time we have for Titanfall on our little show here today. Check us out in the next couple minutes. We're going to be talking about our favorite games of the last couple months. Lots of indie titles. And my name is Joseph Noop. With me as always,
Lucas Schmidt.
And Kagan Sogsville.
check it out, guys.
Go! Canada, toma la mano, la cara y esta mano vale por dejar que no mala más con the stick. Here's the word in the vida, gotta come back. Eat the sun in the matter, body roller. Human Jenny, normal city. Huge body, now me, the river, I believe I'll do the neck, the shits. Freeze, just give me a chance. Now we lost the money, girl. Money about the money, girl. It's just a for the body. Come on, come on, come on, come on, my girl. Fuck. Fuck. Rock. Sonar, 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 sonar. Sonar, 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 sonar. Sonar, 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 sonar. Sonar, sonar, sonar. Somebody studying up who's not another government. Somebody to me, somebody, somebody, money, somebody to my fight. Somebody to my face.
Welcome back to Button Mash on WCRD 91.3 FM, the Pulse of Ball State. I'm Joseph Noop, and with me as always is Lucas Schmidt. Plus, we've got a couple of new guests here. Sound off for us, girls.
Elizabeth Beck.
Julia Perobek.
And my my favorite girl of all.
He didn't want to chime in on that because then that would certify the.
It's Keegan
that he
Stogsdill,
is a
everybody.
Girl.
Today we are talking about the past couple months of games. It's been slow, obviously, but there's a couple of titles that have really drawn some big attention. Lots of indie titles coming out on the consoles like Don't Starve, Nidhogg, and we've even got big AAA stuff like Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Guys, what was your favorite title of the last couple months?
I can go ahead and start. So for me, my last couple of months, something that I've kind of put a lot of time into, I would probably have to say is Don't Starve. It came out on PS4 and it's been out on PC for a while, but I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment, and that game, like, you know, living 2 days in that game is exciting, but living even longer is that much better.
Now, you see, I watched a Let's Play of Don't Starve, and I still don't understand how people perceive it as, like, really, really hard. Granted, the people I was watching were playing it for kicks and giggles, but...
I mean, you can't be at nighttime. You can't. It's so easy to die. Like, if you don't have a weapon or something like that, which it's hard to make weapons. Like, you get a spear, but you have to get in close. And then you have to kind of... It's almost like... It's really about, like, just kind of getting resources together. But then once you want to go further into that game, it's getting weapons. And that's hard. It's hard to stay alive. The longest I've ever stayed alive was, I want to say, 16 days, which is pretty long for that game. But, like, you have to keep food up. It's not like Minecraft, how it started out. You have to be full, and your brain has to be working because you can go crazy.
I actually saw a mod made by the same development team that they put out called, I think it was The Screecher. It was actually, it's a more horror focused mod. So what they do is they put the camera way super low to the ground. So, like, you know, in the original game you're looking like almost top down on top of the character, but in this it's more like, you know, like a standard third person kind of thing. Same graphics and everything, and that makes it really terrifying. So you're just like lost in the woods, and you have to find your friend, and it's almost a Slender Man kind of style experience.
Yeah, I really like the Tim Burton sort of feel to it, the like designs and stuff.
The art style, yeah.
Yeah, it plays really well with the horror, and I would love a horror mod for that to make it scary.
I was playing that game and when I first played it, and I had a torch, And I went, like, I guess, kind of like an idiot and walked into the woods and caught the whole entire woods on fire and had to run from that. So that was interesting. You know, I did not. I mean, you think about that, like, what's the last game that really did that, that did a good job? Far Cry 3, when they caught, you can catch everything on fire.
Absolutely.
But, like, I was just not thinking of that in Don't Starve, and it kind of scared me a little bit.
So what are some of the creatures, though, in Don't Starve? Because I've seen, like, pigmen.
Okay,
and-
so they got, like, a guy, it's like a buffalo, but it's called a beefalo. And it's the craziest thing. And they're in packs, and they drive me nuts because apparently you can ride them in the game if you, like, tame one.
Really?
Yeah, and you can kill them and get a lot of meat from them, but, like, if you hit one of them, they all charge you. And there's like 5 or 6 of them, and they don't stop. They just keep coming. Like, you can run across the whole entire map and they will keep coming. So, I mean, you have beefaloes, you have spiders, you have like cave pig things.
There are the tall birds.
Yeah, they're really like birds. I mean, it's really like a weird game. Like, it's like you talked about Tim Burton. It has a lot of like Tim Burton-esque like art style things and stuff. It's crazy.
I know that there's alternative characters you can play as too, like the Firestarter girl,
Yeah.
and what's the other one?
There's like a
third.
strong man who's
Yeah.
basically, there's a lot actually. The strong man is like really big dude. He's really strong, but he's scared of everything. Like, he's like he gets scared of monsters, so he'll like
The
run
teddy
past
bear.
it.
I love
Yeah.
those
Aw.
characters.
Yeah.
All right, so what else have we enjoyed? I know Final Fantasy is a big one here.
Yeah. So, longtime Final Fantasy fans have been, anxiously awaiting to the ending of the 13 series. So that just came out in February, I think near Valentine's Day. I got it around then, and I finished it in like 3 days. It was super amazing. It was a great ending to the 13 series. Whether you're a longtime Final Fantasy fan or you're just getting into the 13 series, you can start with Lightning Returns if you want to. It was
Did they originally plan to have it as a trilogy? Because I got the impression from the first one that it was like over, and then they're like, oh wait,
You know what?
we
Yeah,
can
that's what
milk
I
it,
got.
maybe.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think because I don't want to spoil anybody, but the ending of the first game was, it was pretty conclusive. But I think the popularity of, the female character named Lightning and the story and the mythology was also
I've heard a lot though
Vast.
about Final Fantasy 13, and a lot of people just don't like that series. And they like, I mean, I've seen a
heard that
lot
too.
on comment boards and stuff, and they're just tired of 13 and everything about
yeah,
that.
I think a lot of the reason that is they were turned off by the first game because it wasn't really
Quite linear.
it was very, very, very linear. There was almost nothing to the maps. You didn't really get any gear or anything. You didn't get to customize anything. But the games have completely evolved. It's a trilogy, but no game is like another. So the second game is way different. You play as different characters. You can explore maps and everything that 13 didn't get to do. And then with Lightning Returns, it all just breaks loose. The maps
like-
are huge. You can customize like thousands of different ways. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Seems like they realized that they had made a mistake with the original 13, but you can see it sort of coming with Final Fantasy 12 and even like 11 and 10 before then, getting more and more focused on action oriented combat.
Yeah.
And like lifeless environments, sort of like you can see the monsters like running around distance, and you can dodge them if you really want to, just like walk around them. And that seems to be a philosophy that just didn't work out for them. So Lucas.
Okay, so hold on. I don't play Final Fantasy at all, but if there's one thing I know, it's that there's a million of them. So are you guys telling me that there's a series just for the 13th?
The third
Yeah,
one
Final
just came
Fantasy?
out.
Yep.
Yeah,
13,
yeah.
13 too.
Every numbered Final Fantasy title is a different story, different characters, different everything. So Final Fantasy 13, there's like 13, 13-2, and 13-3 Lightning Returns. So like Final Fantasy 10 is completely different story, completely different universe, different everything from Final Fantasy 13 and any other title like that. But they all have common elements. They're all turn-based.
Like what made 13 special, unlike that thing, is because they made it was one of the only Final Fantasy games to get a direct sequel. You know,
Yeah.
like they're like 13, 13-2, 13-3. So it was all
Well,
playing on
10
this.
had sequels.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like, this is like the first like huge one. I don't
was-
think 10-2 was that popular.
10, 10
10-2
only
was
had a
not
sequel
popular.
because it was so popular. The story didn't really need to be told.
Okay.
I feel like there was a lot of room in 13 for there to be a trilogy because there was a huge, vast mythology that was presented to you that you just couldn't understand in one game.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I just know a lot of people are looking forward to 15 because they think it's going to be a return to
14.
form. No, 15.
No, 15.
14 is Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn, which is the
Oh,
MMO.
right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
the
action
MMO.
one. I still don't understand how that game is going to be played with like, oh, hey, look, I've now morphed into this building and I'm still fighting and everything.
It's I don't know. I kind of like, I've never been a huge Final Fantasy fan. I played a little bit of 10 and 7 back in the day, but I'm really looking forward to new stuff.
Let's talk a little bit more about indie games because those are where these cold, dead months really thrive. One of my favorite titles, and I actually just got to play it recently, is Octodad, Dadliest Catch. It's actually
Great
it's like
game.
an updated version of a very, very cheap game. I believe like the term for it would be QWOP because you're controlling like the limbs and you're
Very good.
What?
So, yeah, let me
Do
explain.
you not know
let,
Octodad?
let me explain this
No,
for
I've never
people.
heard of this before.
Octodad. Nobody suspects a thing.
I'm mildly interested.
Do you want to explain it? Because I
Yeah,
can explain it.
yeah. Octodad is essentially a cutesy sort of story about an octopus who's posing as a human being. And the game starts off with your marriage. You are on your wedding day to your wife, and it's just so stupid because he's obviously an octopus, and he even like talks to the little girls like.
I was just gonna say, are you an octopus or are you a human?
You're
Is
an
that-
octopus posing like in a suit essentially.
But everybody thinks
And-
you're a human, and nobody really says anything about you being an octopus.
Interesting.
And like the overall obstacle is, besides like the enemy chef who wants to kill you, like he's your neighbor or something, the overall obstacle is, as an octopus, you're controlling like all 4 of his limbs separately. So you have to go around environments and complete tasks like mow the lawn, take the kids to school or something. And you have to do that without drawing too much attention to yourself by like
No
knocking
suspicion.
over a bunch of crap. So
it takes like menial task, like giving your son a bottle of water, which is like
becomes the
something you
most
do.
hilarious
And
thing in the
yeah, it's
entire
so
world.
hard, yeah.
That is super
Pouring some
creative.
coffee into there and like
Yeah.
the beans go flying everywhere.
And the animation is great. It's coming to PS4. Also, it got delayed. It was supposed to come out in March, but it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One in April.
Wow.
Yep. So it's really funny though. Like I heard that it's got its own humor in it, but like with him dealing with his family is really funny too because like they
And-
just act like nothing's going on. Meanwhile, you're like, oh,
They don't explain how they have kids either.
yeah.
No. Mom, have you ever noticed how Dad's a little not our species?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's the hot coffee mod
Yeah.
of Octodad. One of the things that I actually enjoyed really from the brief period of time I spent with is the script writing isn't amazing, but the character, the mom that they do a really good job because the game is set in like a typical 1950s 60s kind of, oh, hello, honey, I made you breakfast and everything. But the mom is actually like a news reporter. And like she starts off the game, like one of her very first lines is, honey, you won't believe the great story I got. I got to interview the mayor and I really stuck it to him. So she's doing selfies over
No, I'm
here. That's
not.
cute.
No, I'm not.
So you you get to really sense that the wife isn't some wallpaper, and she actually becomes a character. And when you go to the aquarium taking the kids there because she has to do a story, she like voices concerns, and I felt like an honest sense like, okay, this character is genuinely concerned about her marriage to this person she thinks she's married to. And even the Octodad has a decent sense of emotion, even though he's talking in blurbles, you see the look in his eyes and like he genuinely cares.
Well, too, like going on indie games, you were talking about a Stanley Parable. Like, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
I played Stanley Parable too.
A friend of mine recommended Stanley Parable, and I decided just to buy it. And it's a game where you are the main character named Stanley, and the only other character in the game is the narrator. And he tells you what paths to take, but there are always choices, and you can either choose to listen to the narrator, or you can choose to defy him, and he can get either really sassy with you or not sassy at all.
And it was sort of a big metaphor for like how narrative works in modern games because go to point X, do Y, and when you actively defy this man giving you objectives, the voice acting on this guy is incredible. He's an actual actor, but every ending you get, and there's like dozens
There's
at this
a
point,
ton.
is absolutely hilarious in seeing how this man reacts to you defying his role as a narrator. Because like being a narrator is apparently the most important aspect of his life, and if you deter any aspect of that, he becomes irate.
Yeah, there's
And
actually
he
a
tries
few...
to like destroy the world around you. And
That reminds me of Portal a little bit with GLaDOS.
Yeah, you
as the
actually
narrator.
there's
Story and
a
everything.
you actually get to play Portal in the game, but
wow.
oh, spoil it!
Oh, I'm
Don't spoil
sorry.
it. It's okay.
but it's actually really really deep and kind of scary because some of the endings are actually a little frightening, And there's actually like the main basis of the story is you don't want to be controlled by this narrator, but as you get further in, you realize you both really can't do your job without each other, and the fact that you keep trying to defy each other is making everything worse.
One
And
of
it's really
one of my
interesting.
favorites was the stairways ending where you keep jumping off.
That one
And
I cried.
The narrator. So I'll spoil this one because there's dozens of endings. But you find your way to a random like warehouse room, and there's nothing but a giant staircase there.
Or
and
you could go
can-
back to the space room that he made you,
Yeah, and
which is very sweet.
yeah, and if you keep jumping off the stairs and like almost breaking your legs every time, he's like, Stanley, please stop. I can change. We can change. We can do this together. And then you like kill yourself one final
He gets
time.
more and
he's
more
like,
desperate.
Well, you've done it.
See, that's awesome. I haven't heard of anything like that since the original BioShock, because
Would
that's
you
what.
kindly.
Yes. I feel like the game's old enough that I can go ahead.
Yes.
Spoiler free.
Spoiler
I mean,
for
I
one
don't
of
know
the
what the
best
expiration
games.
date on like.
It was like
spoiler
2006.
You're fine.
but
Yeah,
it's
you did it.
2007 the game came out. It's
Run with it.
2014. It's been
Run it.
many years. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with that, it kind of just like it's that interesting way of tying in how you play the game and like tying it into the illusion of choice and how much
meta-narrative.
choice do you really have, and kind of like so BioShock kind of gave it as though you had it was an illusion of choice when really it wasn't. You didn't have a choice, but once it got to that plot twist of you've been psycho
And as
like,
games get
changed.
more and more complex and more realistic, the opportunities we have to present stories like that, even with BioShock Infinite to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
what does your decision mean in a world where there could be an infinite number of universes to affect that?
Yeah, I just remember BioShock Infinite. I was like, that's such a stupid title, Infinite. Like, that's so cheesy.
So
and
good.
then you see the ending and you're like, it makes sense.
You know what?
It's so genius.
You want to talk about the like endings like that, and thinking a false promise of choice. Let's talk about Mass Effect 3 because everybody thought they had choice.
I had to
Don't
like,
even
last,
get me started.
Yeah.
We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
Last
My
semester, I
goodness.
had to tell Lucas, like, dude, you've got to stop talking about Mass Effect 3. We're becoming
It's
the
just,
Mass
did
Effect
you
3
did
hate
you ever
show.
hear
Yeah.
about what a group of fans did with cupcakes
What?
with
No.
the ending? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Mass Effect 3, like the final cutscene, is exactly the same no matter what. Like there's over the course of these 3 games, there's like 90 hours
very
possible of
small
like
changes.
gameplay.
Yeah.
There's the only thing that changes is the color
Yeah.
of like this explosion at the end of the
Was
game.
it-
It can be either red, blue, or
Green,
green.
green.
That's the only
Wasn't
thing that's different.
the
Whether
only
you
other
decide to
change-
destroy like an entire civilization or not. What were you saying?
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Wasn't there the only other change was whoever you were with in the game?
No,
like
yeah,
your romantic involvement?
Who
Yeah.
got out of the ship with you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
isn't
then at
that
the
the
very end,
only-
there would be like there's like 2 different characters that'll come out, and yeah, I don't know exactly how it's determined which 2 come out,
Wow.
but
get
even
back to
then,
the
it
cupcakes,
doesn't
yeah.
mean anything. But going back to the cupcakes, these people sent 300, I think, cupcakes, and 100 were like red and they had A on them, and then another 100 were blue and they had B on them, and another 100 were green and they had like C on them, and it was just kind of a mocking like, and they were all chocolate.
They were all
so they were all
vanilla.
the
They
same-
were all
vanilla.
vanilla.
Okay, they were all the same flavor, but they just looked differently, and it was just the greatest kind of ironic. Just you guys stink.
So in the time we have left, let's talk about one final indie game. Who here has played Nidhogg?
I mean, I haven't
Never
played
heard
it.
of
I've
it.
heard a lot about it, but I've not played it.
I've watched and I played a little bit of it, and no one else has.
No, I'm
Let me explain this
sorry.
because people need to see this. Nidhogg is actually based off of like Norse mythology. So every time you win a game, you get eaten by a giant worm, Nidhogg, and that like it's the worm that continually eats at the world tree.
Well, yeah, and like
Yildris
I think
or
the
whatever.
idea is like you want to get eaten by this worm because
Yeah.
it basically saves you from eternally burning or
So,
whatever.
so the main game is you versus another player or the AI. You are armed with nothing but swords, and you're these 2 little pixel dudes who one person has to run all the way to the left, one person has to run all the way to the right, and you stop the other person by killing them, and it's such a high, fast-paced thing. So, for example, I watched a Let's Play on RageSelect.com, and usually these guys are able to talk like really articulately and funny. And as they were playing, the game is so fast-paced that they were just like, no, oh, you suck.
I mean, what I've heard about Nidhogg that makes it so great is like how many people are like big PC gamers here? Like, do you guys play PC?
I'm a
games?
huge PC gamer.
But like, you can understand like PC gaming sometimes is hard to pick up and play with a keyboard.
oh yeah.
But from
This
what
is
I
a game you can
understand,
learn in seconds.
yeah, Nidhogg is so easy to learn, so fast, and it's incredibly intense. Like, I mean, from what I've seen of videos, it looks intense, and I couldn't imagine playing it because like it's like Super Smash Bros. Like where you just don't want to die. Like you're like no, please.
But yeah, I totally recommend that. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up here for the night, and we're going to tell you a little bit about where you can find us. Guys, Lucas, would you do us the honors of telling people where they can find us?
We
and how it
are
works?
all over the internet. We're on Blogspot at, is it BSU Button Mash? Is that the exact URL? Yeah.
No, it's buttonmashbsu.blogspot.com.
Buttonmashbsu.blogspot.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. On there, we are also Button Mash BSU. We are on YouTube also as Button Mash BSU. You can find our recordings there every week for the show. Along with the occasional video we have. We're trying to pump out more video content because, let's be honest, video is the best format to watch.
And if you guys are interested in coming out for the show and maybe want to talk about maybe producing some content, we have meetings every Thursday at 8 o'clock here at WCRD.
Yeah, and that's not
In
just
the
for
Letterman
Button
building.
Mash. Button Mash is video game focused, and we're expanding into our
Byte.
organization.
BYTE.
Yes. Just like Gigabyte, Megabyte, computer stuff. It's so original.
Ha ha ha.
Yes,
Funny.
thank you for the laugh.
So yeah, if any major can apply. If you have something applicable towards our goal of being a geek culture publication, we have business people, we have emerging media people, we have our lovely Elizabeth here is a graphics major, our lovely Julia
You're
here
too kind.
is a creative writing major, and she'll probably be posting a lot of stuff on our blog spot right now and on our website that we are building.
But the most important thing, guys, is everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. All right,
Yes.
guys, have a good weekend.